Ohio. Suriname, the state in the northeast of South America. Borders on the Republic Guyana in the west, French Guiana in the east, Brazil in the south, and it is washed by waters of the Atlantic Ocean in the north. Capital of Paramaribo. Official language, Netherlands. The former colony of the Netherlands, Guiana in 1975 declared independence and accepted the name Suriname, from Agadronym Suriname, the river flowing into the Atlantic Ocean on which there is a state capital. The etymology of Agadronym is connected with the name of the tribe of Asurim. Suriname, the smallest in area state of South America. The country can be divided into two parts conditionally: north and south. In the north, at the coast of Atlantic, there lives the most part of the population. Lands are processed. In the south of the population is almost not present. The territory is covered with the savanna and tropical rainforests. To the south of a coastal strip there are hills of the foothills of Guyana highlands covered with the savanna. Soils generally consist of sand and clay, therefore are of little use for agriculture. Internal southern part of Suriname is occupied with Guyana highlands, which highest point, Mount Juliana, 1230 m. This region of the country is covered with an impassable selva and doesn't play a large role in the economy of Suriname because of the absence of the population, however is rich with various flora and fauna. Located at the equator, Suriname differs in roast and a humid climate. Air temperature practically doesn't change from a season by a season. Within 2°C, the average annual value in Paramaribo is plus 26°C. In a year, 2 rainy seasons. From December till beginning of February, and since the end of April on the middle of August. On average in 200 rainy days a year, 2,500 of rainfall drop out. The rivers of Suriname. Quarantine to Kopanama, Suriname, Maroni and others. Are abounding in water, but proschist. Navigation on them for large and average vessels is possible only in mouths. Small vessels can rise upstream some rivers by 300 km, connecting remote internal areas with the coast. In the northeast of the country, the big reservoir Brokopondo, created in 1964 for electricity supply of the plants on aluminum production, is located. Through the rivers Suriname, Nikari and Maroni flow. Cutting of valuable breeds of trees for export leads to deforestation. Internal waterways strongly become soiled in the course of mining. Deforestation level in Suriname remains one of the highest among all countries of the Amazonian region. Suriname only form of government is the Republic. The head of state and the governments, the president elected by parliament for a 5-year term. The number of terms of presidency isn't limited. Since July 2020, Chansantoki. The parliament, a unicameral state meeting, 51 deputies, is elected by the population for a 5-year term. By results of elections in May 2010. Mega combination, including National Democratic Party, minus 23 deputies. The New Front for Democracy and Development, minus 14 deputies. A combination, minus 7 deputies. National Alliance for Progress -6 deputies. Party for Democracy and Development through Unity -1 deputy. Suriname is divided into 10 districts. Coastal part of Suriname was opened by one of the first Spanish expeditions to South America, Alonso de Ojeda and Vicente Pinzon, in 1499. The coast was for the first time plotted in 1500, after the expedition of other Spanish conquistador Diego Leap. The country received the name from the river flowing across her territory. Colonization of Suriname began only in the first half of the 17th century and was carried out by British. However, in 1667 England transferred Suriname to the Netherlands in exchange for New Amsterdam, territory of present New York. Since then, except for 1799, 1802 and 1804, 1816, Suriname within 3 centuries was possession of the Netherlands. At the end of the 17th century, Suriname became the leading supplier of sugar to the countries of Europe. For cultivation of sugar cane in Suriname, the plantation system of economy was created. For work on plantations, black slaves from Africa were delivered. In the second half of the 19th century in Suriname there was an economic downturn. The main reasons were establishing in European production of sugar from beet and the shortage of labor which arose after cancellation in 1863 of slavery as the released blacks left plantations to the cities. This problem was solved only at the end of the beginning of the 20th centuries by immigration to Suriname, more than 60,000 Indians and Indonesians and also Chinese. With the advent of immigrants from Asia, the structure of economy of Suriname sharply changed. The plantation economy was succeeded by Melkisubstvenический country economy. In the 1920th years, development of the industry of Suriname, which basis were mines on bauxite mining and gold, and also the enterprise for processing of different types of agricultural products began. Since 1922 the country officially ceased to be called colony and turned into the attached territory of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. In 1954 she received autonomy. Under the authority of the Netherlands there were only a defense and foreign affairs. And since November 25, 1975 became the independent Republic of Suriname. An inheritance from colonial time, there were low level of economic development and national discord between Creole. 40% of the population in 1975. An Indian. 36% of the population in 1975. Communities. In 1969 Suriname was involved in border conflict with the neighboring Guyana. In November 1977 in the country there took place the first elections on which the victory was won by the National Party. Expressed the interests of Creoles. Headed by the Prime Minister Hankaran, which received 22 seats in Parliament from 39. The opposition Democratic Party got the others, led by the millionaire Hadranat Lakman. On February 25, 1980 in Suriname a military coup was committed. He was organized by the 34-year-old Staff Sergeant Desi Bouterse, the coach of Army basketball team, by means of 15 more sergeants. Bouterse began to rule Suriname as the dictator, the head of the National Council of War created by him. Having appropriated a military rank of the lieutenant colonel, the highest in the Suriname army. He dismissed parliament, repealed the constitution, imposed state of emergency in the country and created special tribunal which considered cases of members of the former government and businessmen. Bouterse proclaimed the program of moral improvement of the Suriname nation. Several figures of the former government were executed. In response to it, the Netherlands stopped providing financial aid to Suriname. Meanwhile, Bouterse began to nationalize the industry of Suriname. After that, in Suriname there were great economic difficulties. Production sharply decreased. Strikes and protest actions of the population began. In 1986, in Suriname, guerrilla war against the Bouterse mode began. It was organized by Ronnie Brunswick, one of 15 sergeants participating in a revolution under the direction of Bouterse. Brunswick, after the revolution, wasn't raised in a rank, therefore he, being Maron, the forest black, accused the Bouterse mode, Creole mulatto, of racism and created the guerrilla army which was actively operating in the east of Suriname from forest blacks. In 1987, Bouterse agreed to recovery of the constitution and elections, on a condition that he remains the head of armed forces of Suriname. In 1992, Bouterse I overthrew the elected government again. However, in 1991 I allowed to hold new elections and I stopped being the governor of Suriname. Since then the coalition governments manage Suriname. The economic situation in Suriname improved as a result of diversification of economy and development of oil fields. From 1991 to 1996, Ronald Venetian was the president of the country. From 1996 to 2000, Jules Weidenbos, and from 2000 to 2010, again Ronald Venetian. On May 25, 2010, the regular parliamentary elections, as a result of which the ruling National Democratic Party and its presidential candidate, the former governor Desi Bouterse won, took place. Agents X Pyramid of the population of Suriname for 2020. Population minus 566,846. It is expected in July 2013. Annual gain minus 1.15%. Birth rate minus 17. 1 for 1000. Fertility minus 2.04 births only woman. Mortality minus 6.15 for 1000. Average life expectancy minus 69 years at men, 74 years at women. Contamination, a virus of an immunodeficiency. HIV. Minus 1%. In 2009. Urban population minus 69%. 2010. Ethno-racial structure. 2012. Afro. Morona. Forest blacks. Of 21.7%. Creoles of 15.7%. Indians of 27.4%. Javanese of 13.7%. Mixed 13.4%. Other 7.6%. There are no these 0. 6%. Literacy minus 92% of men, 87.4% of women. Religions. 2012 assessment. Christianity of 49.6%, including Protestants of 23.6%, including Baptists of 11.2%, to the Moravina of 11.2%, Reformists of 0.7%, Lutherans of 0.5%, Catholics of 21.6%, Jehovah's Witnesses of 1.2%, other Christians of 3.2%, Hinduism of 22.3%, Islam of 13.8%, Atheists of 7.5%, Screw of 1.8%, other 1.7%. There are no these 3.2%. Official language of the country, Netherlands. Along with it, the local population speaks the following languages: Arawak, Guyana, Vostok-Cameroonskaya Creole, Pionese Creole, Caribbean Hindustani, Caribbean Javanese, Fifth, Maviana, Ndiuka Trio Pidgin, Saramakanskaya, Sikian, Trio, Hakka. Also in the country English, Korean, Netherlands Sinan, the Portuguese and Severnolevantisti dialect of Arabic are used. The economy of Suriname is based on bauxite mining and export of aluminum, gold and oil. 85% of export and 25% of revenues of the state budget. The program of oil production on the sea shelf develops. The State Oil Company of Suriname in 2004 signed contracts with several Western oil companies for development of bauxite mining and gold. Suriname is assisted by the Netherlands, Hungary, Belgium and the European Fund of Assistance and Development. DDD per capita in 2009, $9,500. The 112th place in the world. Services industry minus 65% of DDD, 78% working. The industry, 25% of DDD, 14% working. Bauxite mining, gold, oil, aluminum production. Forest industry, food industry, processing of fish and seafood. Agriculture, 10% of DDD, 8% working. Rice, bananas, cocos, peanut. Cattle, bird. In Suriname under rice about a half of arable grounds are used. At the same time 43% of a harvest of rice are supplied to foreign market. 2013. Export minus $1.6 billion. Main goods. Gold, 64%. Oil and oil products, 8.6%. Timber, 4.3%. Bananas, rice, bow, shrimps, fish. Main buyers: Switzerland, 30%. United Arab Emirates, 27%. Belgium and Luxembourg, 9.6%. Guyana, 5.6%. And USA, 4.5%. Import minus $1.32 billion. Main goods: oil products, cars and equipment, including mining and cars. Chemical goods, food. Chief suppliers: USA, 24%. Trinidad and Tobago, 13%. Netherlands, 13%. China, 8.6%. And Saint Lucia, 3.2%. The government of Suriname initiated a territorial dispute with Guyana on the state accessory of the sea shelf in a coastal zone. The government of Guyana intended to conclude the production sharing agreement with multinational corporations about granting the right of well drilling and mining to them from a seabed. The government of Suriname itself wished to act as the subject of the production sharing agreement, opposed the specified initiative. Made in the Dutch Archival Service an inquiry about providing archival documents, documentary confirmations of accessory of disputed territories Suriname as to the successor to the Dutch colonial Vladini. The State TV Company, STV's. Suriname's Televisie Stichting, Suriname Television Fund. Includes the TV channel of the same name. The State Radio Company, ERS, includes the radio channel of the same name. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.